Let's meet tonight's party panel. We've got the editor, the political editor of townhall.com, and the host of the Guy Benson Show. It's incredible. It's on Fox News Radio. It is Guy Benson. And we've got Reason senior editor and author of Panic Attack. Still plenty of time to buy that book for everyone on your Christmas and Hanukkah list. It's Robbie Suave, great hair, and liberal radio host and Fox News contributor, the one and only Leslie Marshall. Oh, I like your backdrop, Leslie. That looks great.
Oh, thank you. It's new. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks legit. I love it. Okay, welcome one and all. So, Guy, let's talk about this because there are still people who believe that the president, he has a shot. SCOTUS be damned. And damn them we shall.
No, I mean, there is no shot.
Nope.
Right, it's over. I feel like this is the 7th time Joe Biden has won this election.
Yep.
I mean, look,
Re-traumatizes
I understand having
time.
the process play out.
Yep.
And they said, oh, the media doesn't call the election. It has to be certified by the states. Okay. Then it got, after in several cases, recounted and retabulations and recanvassing and all of that. The results were certified in the states. I said, well, it doesn't really count until December 14th when the Electoral College votes, which happened today. Joe Biden won, as he did basically shortly after election night. And I guess the new deadline is January 20th, saying, oh, there's still a month and change to perhaps
January 6th,
pull a rabbit out of a hat judicially somewhere. But
because on January 6th, as the two houses of Congress meet somehow, they have to distance themselves. So maybe they'll do it in RFK Stadium and somehow spread themselves out. But Mike Pence could grab his evil gavel and pound Joe Biden into the earth. Thus, President Trump would have his second and third terms, which I think might happen.
I don't remember that one in the Constitution, but you're the libertarian.
I'm not the only libertarian. Robbie Suave is here. So, Robbie, a lot of libertarians like the idea of chaos. They like watching our faith in the election system kind of crumble. Those are more the anarcho-capitalists, the really anarcho-capitalists. What do you see here, young man?
Yeah, I mean, as a libertarian, what I'm most looking forward to, and I think we're going to get, is truly divided government if the Republicans do hold the Senate, which I think will be just grand. It'll be very hard for President Biden to pass his agenda, to have controversial heads of various departments. So that's good news. But look, just as Guy said, yeah, it's over. Biden won. I mean, you get the feeling that some of the faithful, still months from now, I don't know, Sidney Powell and Linwood will still be going around saying, oh, but we're filing lawsuits. Here's this one trick where Trump could still be. No, it's not going to happen, folks.
No, because all you have to do, there are videos on the net. And all you have to do is watch them, and you could see how Hugo Chavez engineered this entire thing.
Of course.
And it was a bad scheme. So, Leslie, here's the thing. A lot of people don't like President Trump. They voted against him. Those people also voted against Hillary Clinton. They didn't necessarily vote for Joe Biden. So is Joe Biden going into this feeling like he has a mandate, or is there a level of humility as though he has to do something to bring the country back together?
I think if you look at everything Joe Biden has said and the way he's conducted himself, because I certainly would not have been as gracious as he's been, as calm, as chilled, as patient. Maybe he unleashed a little bit tonight in his speech. But other than that, I think what we have seen is not somebody who's beating his chest saying he has a mandate, somebody who knows he has a very divided nation that he needs to bring together, a pandemic that he needs to make sure is behind us, business owners who can get back to work, children back to school, doing that all safely and trying to unite. That seems to be what Joe Biden is about. President-elect Joe Biden. And I agree with you, Guy. I think the 7th time. I think Guinness needs to put him, not the drink, the World Book of Records needs to put him in there for the man who has won the presidency more times than any other.
I'll take a beer, though. I'll take a beer. And the one thing, Kennedy, I would add is to Robbie's point, it's time for every Republican in the country to focus on making sure that those 2 Senate races in Georgia stay in the red column, because that will allow for that divided government. It's so important. Early voting starts today.
Those 2 senators, they just have to stop talking. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, they just have to be quiet and just stand there and look pretty and win and just stop saying things. Everyone has to stop saying stuff, because if my taxes go up because John Ossoff becomes a senator, I'm gonna throw a shoe at something, and I don't know what right now, Guy. I don't know. That's all. And earlier this evening, it's been a big day. Attorney General Bill Barr handed in his resignation letter to the president. It comes just days afterward. The president was furious with Barr for withholding news of the Hunter Biden investigation until after the election. So is it possible Hunter is screwing up not one, but two administrations? The party panel is back. Guy Benson, Robbie Suave, and Leslie Marshall. Guy, I will start with you. This is not a non-story. This is not a Russian disinformation campaign. There are a lot of questions here that have been lingering in the ether for years that brave journalists just did not ask. Did that do a disservice to the country before an important presidential election?
Yes, and not only did they not ask the questions, they repeated the apparently baseless canard that all of this was Russian disinformation, to your point. Right? The Biden campaign and the Democrats just declared Russia did this. And they didn't actually deny the authenticity of the emails on the laptop. That didn't matter. The Biden campaign said it was Russia. The whole media said, ooh, Russia? Okay, we have our marching orders. We're not going to discuss this. We are going to heap shame on anyone who does discuss it. We're going to gang up on our fellow journalists who have perhaps trod onto territory that is very unhelpful right now. Our buddies over at Big Tech will make it difficult to share the story,
That's
perhaps
right.
even impossible for a few days to tweet it from average Twitter accounts. It was an all-hands-on-deck act of suppression. And now all of a sudden, Joe Biden is safely elected, to our previous conversation, and now everyone can say, oh, golly, it looks like there are some federal investigations into all of this, and there's Russia, and there's China, and there's millions of dollars, and there are ongoing strands of this federal investigation. Perhaps we should ask some questions, although the only one that I've really heard was from Peter Doocy, the one that you just played.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my son. That's the only statement we've gotten from Joe Biden himself on this. And, we'll just hold our breath for the feeding frenzy that should come from the press, but I'm not really counting on it because, the press has really disgraced themselves on this one.
Yeah, and you know what, Robbie, impeachment is exhausting. And, if you're going to aim for the king, you better not miss. And they did miss. And the last time we tried impeachment, but this isn't just Hunter Biden screwing around at strip clubs, snorting lines and using marital aids and getting ladies who do the jiggle dance pregnant. This is someone who was taking tens of millions of dollars from foreign governments. His uncle is wrapped up in all of this and is also under federal investigation for another case involving hospitals in Pennsylvania. His dad was one of the office mates. So at what point do all of these crazy facts connect to Joe Biden?
Right. So there's little question that Hunter Biden, he's an influence peddler. And we'll see to what extent, if he crossed into illegal territory, that's why there has to be an investigation. We don't know yet that it impugns Joe Biden. That's something that needs to be looked at. It's something I don't trust, frankly, the media to have any sort of curiosity about because they see themselves as the guardians of the incoming administration. They had no curiosity about this matter whatsoever. That's why it's going to be important for independent, conservative, libertarian journalists to keep on this matter. I think who were, when the laptop story came out, who actually said, I remember tweeting about it and thinking, well, I don't know that this is so obviously disinformation that we shouldn't even be allowed to talk about it,
yes.
Which was the media line, the social media line. There is plenty there to disturb us about the odd relations between Biden and China and Russia and moneyed interests, the corruption of our politics.
And I want to bring Leslie in because, Leslie, I have a feeling you're going to say, well, the Trump children are bad or coronavirus. So which is it? Go ahead.
I'm not going to say either of those, but thank you so much. No. One, this certainly is a distraction with President-elect Biden starting his 4 years or 8 years. Two, in November, I'm old enough to remember a Republican-led committee that pretty much exonerated Joe Biden. They just didn't find what they were digging for and looking for. I don't think the dots are going to connect to President-elect Joe Biden, and it is not Hunter Biden, but rather Joe Biden, who just won the election, and saying that the information should have been out there by the media. Yes, that I would agree with. But the Attorney General didn't put the information out there either.
But don't you think it's weird that he went with his dad? He went with his dad to China in 2013 and miraculously started this private equity fund and then got $10 million a year from that introduction where he said, we just had a cup of coffee. That's a hell of a cup of coffee. And it makes me think, I want that coffee because we're all doing stuff the wrong way. There's being safe and then there's being ridiculous. Have you heard about this? A family was kicked off a plane because their 2-year-old daughter wouldn't wear a mask. And that has folks furious after seeing mom's tearful reaction. So was this flight crew following the science or just using the pandemic to bully people? I love United. I will say that on the record, and I'm sad. But the party panel has returned. Guy Benson, Robbie Suave, and Leslie Marshall. Leslie, you have 2 children. You've flown with them as toddlers. You know that it takes an act of Congress to calm down a flying toddler, and everyone else needs to calm down.
Benadryl, Tylenol, and even cheap red wine if you have to go that far. Look, I felt really bad for this woman because, I see in some of the stores kids walking around with their masks, on their head, their eye like a pirate. It's really hard to keep my 12 and 13-year-old in their masks and complying during this pandemic. Very difficult. I think the airline was wrong to remove them. I have seen very young children walking around, like I said, in stores without masks. United, I understand, has policies. I understand the crew has to follow policies, but I think that the punishment didn't fit the crime here. There were 2 things severe: having them leave the plane and then banning them from flying from United. I'm with you. I like United. I think I'm a platinum member from all the West to East Coast travel I did prior to the pandemic. I think that this was a bit harsh and severe, very hard to keep a child that age with their mask on.
Well, they may not be banned. They may not be banned. United said that may not be true. I've been a 1K for 8 years now, trying to get global services. I don't think this segment's going to help at all. Guy Benson, I know you were also a United flyer. What would you like to say? I
am. By the way, I can barely hear you over that disgustingly loud New York Rangers sweater, so I just want to register my objection to that and say, go Devils, go Devils. Look, I'm a United loyalist. I have flown United Airlines my entire life since I was an infant. I've spent weeks of my life on United Airlines flights. I even defended them. Remember when they, bloodied and dragged that doctor off the plane?
Yeah, he was asking.
Because they overbooked a flight. He didn't want to give up his seat. Remember that whole thing? I, kind of defended them through that. Yeah. I cannot defend them on this one. You're the friendly skies. Cut the 2-year-old a break. Follow the science. And, I'll have my complimentary 1K drink, if that's still allowed. If not, the stroopwafel, please.
Yeah, the stroopwafel. I mean, and the other thing, United, stop serving every item with gluten. For those of us with celiac disease, does everything have to be a pretzel? Sorry, Robbie Suave. I know you've got
a lot of really United-specific commentary here. I'm going to go a little broader here.
All right.
I think the shaming, the mask shaming, is just so out of control. Broadly speaking, we are complying with mask mandates. People are wearing them in the 70-80% range. I mean, there's not enough added value at yelling at every last single person to have their mask on at all times. That is not going to help at all. That could make things worse. If you have an altercation with someone where you're yelling at each other, well, that's going to be more likely to spread the disease anyway.
Exactly.
So it's just don't bully people. We can't bully our way out of this pandemic. You got to go easy, especially on families that have kids. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
Lighten up, everyone. And everyone knows toddler tears cure the pandemic. So it was dumb for them to kick the family off the plane. Guy, Robbie, and Leslie, beautifully done tonight. Way to kick off the week. Thank you all.
Thank you.